We're on, folks. Hello, everybody. On a quite grisly weather outside today on the 12th. Welcome for planning and licensing. And we'll start off with apologies. Duncan, please.
This evening we have apologies from Councillor North, Councillor Williamson, Councillor Adlam.
Brilliant, thank you. Any interests? No?
As per usual, 7.1.
Yep.
Yeah. Noted. If anyone's got any other things that, pop up or we think, oh, yeah, that's me, then as and when. Meeting management issues. We haven't got any at the moment, I don't think, because we have no people in the audience. They haven't come out. They're all watching at home. Right. Number 4, the minutes. We've got 3 sets of minutes. I've read them all. I've found no issues, so I'm happy to propose them unless anybody's got. Joanna seconding. All in favour? Brilliant. Thanks ever so much. Any matters arising from the minutes? There's for the audience, there's shaking of heads. There's it's a bit like, being a witness, or, at the police, isn't it? So, not that I know that, but for the benefit of the tape. Yes. Nobody had any matters arising. Right. Number 6, open session for electors. Verbal and written questions.
No, we've not received any written questions.
Brilliant, and we have nobody in the audience. So, right, active consultation, 7.I, let's talk taxes. And Councillor Morris is just leaving the room for a few minutes. Brilliant.
I was going to question whether he needed to.
Well, yeah. No, not this. No, it was the Metro feedback that.
And whether, that was so. Wasn't the nicest consultation to deal with, was it? Really?
I mean, it might still be that we do an individual response on taxes. If we'll see what happens if we don't come with the universal voice. So, Duncan.
On this. So, as you all know, Cornwall Council are intending to remove the Hackney Carriage taxi zones which currently exist in the former district and borough council areas, of which there are 6. This will mean a single taxi area for the whole of Cornwall. Since we last met, because we saw Julian Church, chair of the Newquay Taxi and Private Hire Drivers Association at our last meeting, since then I've spoken to a senior officer within Cornwall Council licensing. The lead officer for this project hasn't yet assumed the role, but will be very shortly. The
lead officer hasn't seen what, sorry?
Hasn't assumed the role yet.
Assumed.
So I spoke to somebody more senior. So the senior officer assured me that Cornwall Council have not made a decision on the taxi zone and that the current review is overdue and follows the publishing of the most recent Department of Transport guidance in 2023. There is a little bit of a discrepancy here. I'm a bit concerned at the wording in the notification letter, because that reads intending to remove the Hackney Carriage taxi zones. I was assured by the senior officer that this was a review and no decision had been made, so there was a slight contradiction there. We've looked at, as I said, it's the Department of Transport guidance from 2023 that is informing Cornwall Council regarding this review of the taxi zones.
So is that central government, are you saying, that that's coming down from?
Yes.
Yeah.
The guidance has been out since 2023. It's up to local authorities whether or not they want to do it.
Employ,
it's guidance.
Right.
It's nothing more enforceable than that. Section 12 of the Department of Transport guidance recommends removing taxi zones to make things simpler for passengers, to improve taxi availability and customer choice, and to create a fairer, more efficient system. You've got the survey on IBABS. I can open it here if you would like. It is. It had been suggested that it was very leading. I must admit, I didn't think so. See what you think when it finally decides to open up. Do you work in the trade? Do you agree with the proposal? And you can to remove the zones. You can agree strongly or disagree strongly, and everything in the middle. And then an open text box. Please use this space to provide comments about the current taxi zones or the proposal to remove. Do you ever use taxis? How often do you use them? I personally didn't think that was very leading. I thought, in fact, it was quite the opposite, really. It's sort of, I don't want to be rude, but it's kind of it's sort of a lighter touch.
Third question, good leading.
Please provide comments. Yeah, so that is what we'd be working towards completing sometime between now and the 31st of December.
Can I just say, from that is an individual's questionnaire, isn't it? That's not a town council response questionnaire.
That is the survey response.
Right. There isn't another one. But so can I interrupt? Can I suggest that we do this individually again?
Makes sense.
Joanna?
Yes, I think so. But also, I don't think we've got the right information, because we're not going to be asking someone to come and present from council on this, because the taxi services are saying, what they're saying is it will mean the charges will go up. And their second case is that, in fact, what will happen is everybody will come into the towns in the summer, and then there'll be so much competition, and there will be nobody committed to the winter.
So
That's their second case.
So my view on this, although it's up to the chair and the rest of you, was that we don't need to make a decision on this evening. As I say, the lead officer is still not in place, so I've not been able to talk to her. I've spoken to somebody more senior, but we don't need to make a decision this evening.
Well, certainly, if you've got in the position, this is a consultation, no, this is something that you're going to do.
Yeah.
Whatever we say is a big question I would like to ask them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And my goal is to get somebody in the room in much the same way that we did with Julian Church. You're going to have to leave that with me for, a meeting.
When do we have to respond?
31st of December. So I have a little bit of time to play with, but as I say, when I spoke last week, the officer hadn't assumed, they know who it's going to be, but they hadn't assumed the role yet because they are doing other things. I can see where you're coming from with regard to how often do you use taxis. These are all they're all quite individual questions, aren't they? Mm-hmm. I wonder if I can ask them if there's any way that a more collective response can be provided. That could be a question, one of the things that we ask them, and I'll do that tomorrow if you like. I have sent an email today asking how they would manage a uniform tariff. Sorry, I've not sent it today, I'm awaiting a response. How would they manage a uniform tariff? Because if you remember, Julian Church pointed out that some parts of the county have got higher tariffs than others, so there are going to be winners and losers in terms of both the public, because the public might find that their tariffs have suddenly leapt, and likewise the trade. If you're in one of the if you're sort of down in southeast Cornwall and the tariff comes down, you're going to find that you aren't pulling in the income that you were. So there's going to be winners and losers with this. So I have emailed them to ask how they're going to manage that. I can send another email saying, is there a more collective way that we can respond, because this form doesn't really sort of facilitate a collective organisational response. If you're happy for me to do that.
Yeah, I'm happy if you do that, Duncan, and then we'll we'll come back and decide. But I mean, if they haven't got a group form, then I would suggest after we hopefully hear from somebody that we make individual representations on that, as with our councillor.
And that would be the whole. That would be the whole of the council. Not
Yeah,
just
we'll
us.
open it up for the whole of the council. I mean, whether you know, when it comes down to it, have we got a summary of the points made that Julian made from when he was here?
I've just got the full printed document. I mean, if you
from
want
what
to,
he did. So
if you
yes, so
think,
we got.
if you think canvassing I mean, the delegated responsibility lies with this committee and the people in this room to respond to this.
Right, okay.
But you can canvass the rest of the council if you want to.
Well, we could answer as a group, but you see, I'm not sure. You see, I'm at the moment I'm erring towards it being a uniform thing, and it's a very complex. Whereas I'm pretty sure in the room there are people who are going to be erring towards sort of objecting to it and staying with the current system. But for me, living out of Newquay, then, and outside, at the moment, it costs of an evening for a single journey £25 to get from mine to from here, to mine, which is 4 miles.
And that could go up or it could go down depending on how they're going to manage this. I mean, if you think about
it.
But
in the Cornwall Councillor, Pat, I'm sure it said that the prices should come down because there's the opportunity for them to get return fare.
It's more simple, which is nice. Yeah. The idea of being able to go to Bobbin Parkway and then pick somebody else to come back again, I think, is sensible. I'm just concerned about I do think it's going to have we could have find ourselves with less taxis. And I mean, if it's putting the prices up, I mean, currently it's £30 to get to the airport. Yeah. What's going to happen from Newquay? What is going to happen to that standard fare? That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And whilst return journeys currently aren't possible, there's no guaranteeing that if, for instance, Councillor Morris takes somebody to Camborne, that he's going to meet somebody in Camborne who wants to come back to Newquay. I mean, the likelihood of that is probably a bit slim, to be honest. It'll probably, So, one thing that I did agree with the senior officer about was that this wouldn't be a money-saving exercise. Because you've got the 3 teams, they each deal with, or you had the 3 teams, each dealing with 2 of the areas. They will be issuing the same, it just means that they'll all be issuing a plate that's the same colour. You get a yellow one here, you get a red one for Carrick, etc., a brown one for North Cornwall. They'll just all be one colour. And that's, really that's the only change. They all pay the same amount of money for their driver licences and vehicle licences. So there's no real saving for the local authority here. It'll just be that. Oh no, it's not that I can see.
It's got to. If you're dealing with only one category, then it's got to be savings. They will be quicker to deal with each individual case.
I'm speaking as somebody who has licensed a lot of taxis, and this is what the officer said, and I did agree with her because I can't see how they will be doing more work or less work. Any saving that they will be making will be absolutely minuscule. I really don't think that will be what's driving this. But we will see. You will, if we can get someone in the room, you'll be able to answer those questions.
So I'm happy to propose then that hopefully Duncan will get somebody in, and we'll wait until we've heard a Cornwall Council officer, and then come back and discuss that. Second, yeah.
Are you saying we won't canvass the other councillors for their views?
Well,
I think they probably haven't got the information.
No, this is it. Not being there I think it's really hard. So unless we have a piece of information that comes out, and with the Cornwall Council initial email, but I mean, we're the committee that's got the, you know, the delegated authority then to deal with it, so we'll...
And you're happy for me to try and promote the survey
Yeah,
via the
yeah, yeah.
Town Council's socials
Yeah, yeah.
and media, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right.
And if not, then we'll come back to it later in December and we'll come to a decision then.
This is one occasion where we haven't time.
Yeah. Did we all vote on that? Yeah, and we all voted on that. Right, okay, brilliant, thank you. Right, item 8. Oh,
Hang on a minute.
oh, sorry.
And can I ask a question? I don't know if I fantasised, because I can't find a trace of it, but did we get a notification there was a parking set, an amendment to the parking order 7? Okay, so when is that coming up on the agenda?
It's actually arrived yesterday, it went live today, it's included as an information item, it's too late to be added.
Yeah, I understand that, but I couldn't find the link to where the actual information on what the amendment was. That was my point.
Right, okay, well I can email that around to people yesterday. As I say, it only went live today and it came in yesterday and we got an email about it yesterday, so, but I can, well, I think you've all got the email now.
Yes, I couldn't find the link to...
Okay, we'll deal with that, towards the end of the meeting.
Item 8. I've just got an apology coming in from... Oh, no, I haven't. It's somebody else. Margaret apologising for something else. Variation of street trading. Consent renewal. Duncan.
Right.
This is outside Concho, isn't it?
Yeah, this is Andrew Page, who's the caricaturist. He's been out there as long as the as long as this kind of current street trading regime has been in place, to be honest. To the right of the entrance at the Concho Lounge on Bank Street. His current trading months are June to August. He wants to vary that so that he adds the 23rd of May to the 31st of May, which would obviously include the spring bank holiday on the 25th. And then, as we say, he's got June, July and August already. And then he would like to add the 1st of September to the 4th of September. That's all this application is. It's just adding... in fact, it's almost like
adding...
adding...
a late bank holiday, he wants to be, you know, when it's on the 31st of the month, he wants to be able to do it.
Has anybody got any issues with this? So I propose that we don't... I'm forgetting the terminology. We don't submit a representation. Seconder? Thank you, Sandy. All those in favour? Thank you.
So he's a long-standing trader, and I'm not aware of us having had any complaints about him ever. So.
No rioting round him. Right, item number 9, previous planning applications. So we've got, we've got a police feedback from Ocean Hill Lodge. This is this one, isn't it?
5-day protocols first.
Oh, is it 5-day? I'm really sorry. 5-day protocols. Yeah. So which?
So you've just got one 5-day protocol, which is 38 Hillgrove Road. I should have added it to an agenda several meetings ago, and for some reason it slipped through the net. I only had 3 responses to that one, but you all agreed with the officer recommendation to approve, and so I responded accordingly. It is many weeks ago now, so apologies for not bringing it to the meeting sooner. So you just need to ratify that one.
Okay, sorry. Okay, right. I haven't got that up on here. Yes. So I'm happy to. Yes, please. Thank you, Joanna. Oh, I've had a long day. Nick seconding. All those in favour? Yes, ratified. Sorry, I'm just confused as to what's coming up. So I've got under number 9 the NTC objection. Yeah.
That sounds like an attachment to me.
Oh, yes, yes, it is. Sorry.
So
I had-
looking
yeah.
at the agenda, just to get us all up to speed with it, let's talk taxis, 5-day protocol,
so
other matters, 9.2, which
I
is...
haven't got the 5-day protocols, you see, on mine. I don't have the 5-day protocols bit.
Right. Well, this is what
Sorry.
this is what I've published.
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
on the screen here.
But
if
it
your
doesn't come
app
through.
is not behaving itself, I suggest that we feed that back to Will, and I'd also suggest using the. I always suggest people use the browser version. To be honest.
No, I have to say, I've only got the 9.2,
Yeah.
I've used the browser version.
so it doesn't appear to be...
It doesn't transfer.
What you're looking at
onto-
on the screen is what
Yeah.
I've published.
Yeah, yeah.
If
We're not-
if your app isn't reflecting that, you need to feed that back to Will.
Variation of street trading license. To make and discuss any decisions on previous planning applications, and the only thing that we've got is AG with the PDF on whatever that is.
Yeah. But sorry,
So
I mean,
you
it's
need
sort of
to
like.
feed that back to Will then, and I would suggest that you use the browser version.
I mean, we're on the portal at the moment, so okay. Well, we've covered it. We've moved on. So, sorry, I was confused. Right. So yes. PA 25/05921, Ocean Hill Lodge. So we've had feedback from. This is the objection that we put in is on the screen, and then we've got a printout as well from what the police have given feedback on, which hopefully have you all quickly read. It's on the paper.
So, just
Duncan.
to be clear, Martin Mumford has we, in our objection, asked the case officer, do you think that the police architectural liaison officer who looks at things like safe entries and especially in larger developments, we said, do you think he ought to be consulted? The case officer had to think about it and thought, yes. Martin Mumford has then been consulted and responded, but since then the scheme has changed. He has been reconsulted, but he hasn't provided his response yet, because this consultation's only been out for a couple of days. There are no additional, in the end, I think there were 16 certainly 16 public comments, most of which were objections, which we did not see when we looked at this, because we looked at it quite early on in the consultation phase. There have been, and they're concerned about the same things that you were. There have been no additional public comments to the amended plans.
Right.
Okay. So, do you want me to run through the through this then? So yeah, as you recall, following our initial objection, we received correspondence from the applicant which stated their willingness to reduce the number of bedrooms to 9 with a maximum of 14 people living at the property. When we objected, we'd worked out they could have up to 25 people in there. As per your decision at our last meeting, I responded positively to this correspondence, stating that we would take the opportunity to reconsider our previous objection if reconsulted on the proposals. We've now been reconsulted on a revised set of plans. So the first thing is that the description has been changed to sui generis rather than C4, because a HMO of this size is not covered by the C4 use class. It's something else. So that was a mistake that they've made. Anyway, so we'll start off with the site. Start off with the site plans. What I'm basically going to do is, I'll run through this quite quickly, but I'm just going to compare what we looked at last time with what we're looking at now, and I'll do it in the quickest possible way that I can, okay? Because I'm aware that you've already looked at this. So that was the footprint of the previous proposal. The amended site, same number of parking spaces. They've added a little bit of detail, greenery basically at the front, but otherwise the site plan remains the same. Looking at the ground floor. So that was the previous ground floor plan. This is the amended ground floor plan, which I shall talk you through. So this is, to start with, I'm talking about the section of the building that runs parallel to the road. So that's sort of, yeah, from left to right at this sort of top section. That's where the bedrooms are. So it accommodates 8 bedrooms. This doesn't change. There's 7 doubles and there were 7 doubles and a single. They are now all singles. So 8 bedrooms, 7 were doubles, 1 was a single. They are now all singles. Yeah. The layout remains largely what it was. But they're all singles now, plus 6 of them now have their own ensuite, effectively, and 5 of them have their own washing facilities, either a bath or a shower. And I think it's the addition of those washing facilities that have meant that have allowed them to keep the same layout but reduce the occupancy size from doubles to singles. Okay. So, I mean, I would say that's a considerable improvement on the previous, where there were a lot of shared toilets and a lot of shared baths. The section running sort of top to bottom here, that accommodates the various main habitable rooms plus an office. There's a minimal change to this section. I don't quite know why. There was a TV lounge down here, which has become, it says touchdown home office. Not quite certain what that means, but the rest of the habitable spaces are still there. They have added, this was the recycling store at the back of the building. They have added additional provision to the back, and it's not attached to the building now. As per previous, there are 6 car spaces to the rear and 12 cycle spaces to the side. And the front garden still offers 135 square metres of outdoor space. We'll look at the first floor now. Right, so that's the previous. The previous plans contemplated 6 bedrooms, 4 doubles, 2 singles. They are all now singles. 3 of the 4 are ensuite, which wasn't the case previously. The habitable rooms, which include another kitchen, dining room and lounge, they all remain unchanged.
Is there a comment or?
Stairs, there is one that can be shared. Similarly, downstairs.
Oh, so they've got 2 then, haven't they?
Yeah, downstairs there's a shower there that's communal. There's a WC there.
Yeah.
I thought I'd seen another one as well, but anyway, there's another bath there.
Bathroom there.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot less sharing than there was. Almost all of them have got.
Space, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martin Mumford was concerned about the number of people that would be in there in terms of potential police issues, but we haven't seen his sort of return comment. It's still quite a large HMO for Newquay, but it's nothing like what it was.
On his written comment that he's got here, he shared our concerns about the number of doors. He gives advice there about how that's dealt with. and about recommending then that suitable CCTV is added of the main door. Internal lobby and other renovations should be considered. So, and what the surveillance, the quality of the surveillance system that needs to be in. Yeah. So is he going to come back now with a revised version for the reduction? Because this is still talking about the original one.
He's been consulted, so I would presume so, because Martin Mumford is it's always been very diligent, but he's not come back yet.
So, no, he clearly doesn't. I mean, he raises as well, the only usable external recreation space for proposed residents would be at the front of the site. I think for the, for the type of accommodation that, like you think of the apartments that have gone in where the chemist is, they don't have any open space. So, no. So I think for that, it's a large improvement. Whether they do have a bench there and people can sit outside, I don't know.
Can I just check right? Is it 14 single bedrooms?
14 would be the maximum occupancy.
So it's a huge reduction. So can we vote on this yet, or do we still got to?
Absolutely.
Oh right, we still have to
You can vote on it.
Okay. So I'm proposing then no objection, pending that the police, Martin Mumford's recommendations are taken into account and adhered to.
Sure.
All those in favour? Nick, you're looking at me. You all right?
Don't like it.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm going to vote against because it's hard enough for couples to get something. They did have something possibly here. Couples it was difficult to find accommodation for in this town as singles. So that's the reason why I'm voting against it.
Accept that point. It's just that, I mean, I think they're probably aiming this at workers. You need to...
I think this is helpful for everybody because I know plenty of single people who are desperate for accommodation. So, I mean, it's just people are desperate for accommodation, whether they're families, couples, singles. So this is meeting the singles market. So, Joe?
Have we voted?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, great.
I think that's quite a good. I think we've got the architectural liaison officer involved when he wasn't previously.
Yeah.
We've got quite a large reduction because I think the neighbours were very concerned about 25 people. So I think this has been quite a good result.
I think it's a big compromise. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so on to planning applications.
9.3.
Oh right, no, I haven't got that. Okay.
Update following informal public hearing. Land at former Paradise Cove Hotel.
Oh right, sorry, I put that. Okay.
I've seen that, but it's not on my app.
No, well, I haven't got it. Sorry, Duncan. Yeah, go on.
No, it'll be on the browser.
It is on the browser.
You must do this back.
So what?
We know someone who knows someone.
That's very handy. Where IT is concerned. Yeah, so, 2 of you there. 3 of you were there.
4.
4 of you were there. Joe.
I'm afraid I was...
You're bereft.
Working.
Nuts and bolts scenario. Ha ha ha. There's an owl there.
Oh, then I shall try to watch it back.
There was an owl there, yeah, in front of the Cornwall councillors. Yes, there was an owl recording everything. Yeah.
Oh, what's there?
Yeah.
Oh, that explains why I keep taking notes. So when you say there's an owl, it's
So they would have recorded it like we have at CAT meetings.
Degrees camera, webcam thing.
Yeah.
Right, I saw him feverishly taking
He did take a lot of notes.
Notes as well, but he was writing notes of his questions, which I thought were quite to the point.
Yeah.
Do you want a quick...
So there was a chair, I presume a gentleman came down from Bristol to hear about the management plan. So this site already has planning permission, and he was going to, the discussion was whether the management plan, which had been put up for appeal, could go through or not. So on one side, I think there were six Cornwall council officers, 5 or 6. On the other side, there was three people from.
I think it was 5, and then there was someone from the same Whipsnade Cliffs. But it wasn't, if I may interrupt, it wasn't just the management plan, although that was the bit that was absolutely fascinating, really. It was the whole, what they had applied for was to stabilise the cliffs. And we came in with a long response, and the officers turned it down on the basis, well, a synopsis, as they didn't know what they were talking about. So it was not only the management plan that was there, it was the fact that what they were planning to do to stabilise the cliffs, which was a netting system across the top. That was what they were planning to do to stabilise the cliffs.
So it's bolts and netting. So there'd be somebody on the end of a rope going over the cliff, putting in up to, I think the largest figure I heard was 22-metre bolts into this. So they drill in, dry drill in, not wet drill, dry drill in, and there's holes in the casing, the steel casing, and cement is basically sprayed through to support the hole. This then turned out, I think as well, they were planning about 60 to 80 bolts to go into the side of the cliff, and then mesh netting to be fixed to the bolts on this. This turned out that they had a lifetime of 50 to 60 years, yes, there was lots of discussion about that as to how often the checks were going to be made, what happened to the mesh, and there was a lot of geological debate as to what the major sources of concern were. The applicants were saying that their major, they saw it as the major concern was the scar parallel to the cliff face, which they planned to pin onto the cliff. The Whipsy group, who had employed and paid for a professional geologist to come down and speak on their behalf, talked about the fault and joint graben pattern, so like a wedge, an inverted wedge pattern of joints, and those plain structures being the main points of concern, which run perpendicular going into the cliff. There was a huge debate whether the caves were still there, and that was opposing on that. There was lots of engineering talked about and discussed as to what was suitable. They'd proposed basically the pins and the mesh purely for the top of section of the cliff, which has a very different erosional framework to the bottom of the cliffs and the caves. They were expecting then to wait for, in the years to come, for the scree slope, the apron which is there covering the caves up, to be removed, and then they would then tackle that as a same scenario of mesh and pins, whereas Cornwall Council was arguing that's a whole different application, it's a different scenario, that might not be applicable because originally if the caves are still there, they're going to fill them up with concrete. So totally different thing which they're not, haven't applied for. Yeah, so there's a lot of heated debate. So it is clear from this, the fall starts from the top. The people that are putting in to develop the site said that the caves collapse from below. whereas all the evidence shows that the caves didn't collapse from below, that this is a case of slope failure, so it collapses down rather than that it's come from the top, whereas they said it was the caves eroding at the back which caused it to collapse.
I'm not including the audio on that.
No, the audio is classic. It's yes. I mean, how it didn't kill anybody at the time.
Yeah, we have been very fortunate that there's been no injuries.
Yes, so since then, of course, we've had further massive falls and things. So they insinuated that the cliff had parallel collapsed back, whereas effectively what had been started off as a vertical cliff has retreated in angle because the top has collapsed. It hasn't been a parallel collapse, which you'd expect if the caves had gone from underneath, then it would maintain that sheer face. So, there was just huge amount, and then sort of like, as Joanna pointed out, I can't remember which example is it where the cliff, when it's filling up, the mesh is filling up with debris. Yeah.
We're talking about there being 70, 60 years, so I've just stuck my hand up and said, if you want to see one.
Yeah.
One that's stuck full of stones.
Yeah. So the mesh isn't designed to hold the cliff back. That is the pin's job. Mesh is purely to stop rock falling onto people underneath. They're setting up, or put to one side, £250,000 pot of money to start with, and that's going to be, supposedly their expectation is to be managed by the residents. The 7 households for the 7 houses are going to be there, and the expectation is that they put in £3,500 a year to maintain, to build up. So their theory is in 50 years they would have a big enough pot to repin. When it's
at one stage, it's changed from what they planned, and they just planned
Yeah, they were just coming up because they didn't have really the answer. It wasn't demonstrated in their management plan or their application as to what, the questions they were being asked.
Can I just do another bit, which I thought was extraordinary? It was quite different to any hearing I've ever been to before, on the basis that there was absolutely no discussion on planning policies, which is what the inspector makes his decision on. So this man, who has no knowledge of any, who probably may have more knowledge than I have on engineering, but not a lot more, he listened to these 2 opposing arguments, and it would have meant absolutely nothing to him, any more than it did to me. Sarah obviously understood most of it. I got switched off when we got to the perpendicular bit. I thought, this is good. But it wasn't. The ones I've been to before have asked people to come forward and and he did at the beginning. He said, who wants to say something? And then the whole of it was this discussion from either side of the room, with every so often one of the observer putting in some quite acute comments. It was very, very odd. And then eventually he said he wanted to go and see the cliff, so anybody who wanted to talk had to talk really quickly, because it was getting dark and drizzling and all the rest of it. And he obviously didn't come to a conclusion there and then, so we now await his report. But I thought it was the most extraordinary planning hearing I have ever heard, because there was nothing about planning in it.
So basically, there was representation from Cornwall Council's side, from the cliff protection officers. So he asked the question, if I did sign this off, would you be able to sign off the safety? And Cornwall Council basically said no. So even if it did get signed off, there's still a pile of other hurdles that they'd have to get through.
It has to be approved by the Coastal Protection Authority, who
Yeah.
happens to be exactly the same people who are sitting on that side of the table saying you don't know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was very, very odd. But it was an engineering debate, not anything about planning.
Yeah, and it was 3 different geologists' interpretation with me just throwing in a bit every now and then too. So
Well, we await the outcome.
we await the outcome. Did I hear vaguely somewhere it's 28 days?
I don't think so.
No?
Did anybody point out the irony of the...
Joe, put your thing on.
Anybody ask about the response to the previous pinning is now a plea for more pinning? I mean, I'm just wondering how the previous pinning went.
So the current mesh on the side above the steps is purely to here for rockfalls. It's not pinned through bolts going through 22 metres. So 22 metres back would go underneath the road, effectively. It's a really long way, yeah.
I'm not talking about the current netting. I'm talking
Oh.
about the previous attempts at pinning or drilling.
They weren't pinning, they were,
No, they were
No,
drilling.
borehole.
Right.
they were drilling rods in, which they were going to put as the centre of a concrete thing
Yeah.
in the caves. That was the idea. So they weren't doing net, and this is
No.
a different approach.
No. So this is different to the MMO license they applied for, because that was to remove the sand to then fill up the caves with concrete, because you need that if you do anything with the beach. So as far as I can work out in my mind, if they do put nets on there and that sediment effectively is being worked on and ends up on the beach, they need another MMO license as well.
Just not sure whether they do or not.
I think they will, especially if they're playing stuff with down the bottom down with the caves again.
We clearly upset them because they came back with a line-by-line rebuttal of everything we'd said, mainly without actually relating. They said line 65. Oh God, which one's line 65? Without actually repeating any of our arguments. In that load of guff, there was a particularly interesting statement where they said, "We understand that we can probably." I can't remember the way they put it, but what they're basically going to say is they've actually succeeded in stabilising the cliff because they've knocked it down. So effectively the cliff is now stable, therefore they don't need to do anything. Therefore they have discharged the condition in the... it is... I can look it up actually, what they actually said, but that was the implication of what they were saying. Everything they have done has been such a success that they can now claim to have stabilised the cliff. Nobody has told the cliff this.
It's going to still be shifting the cliff. It's not stable yet
No,
because
forward,
that scar is there parallel. That will go. Interesting, they'd only done 2 boreholes when it was pointed out to them the norm is 10, and that when they did bore down, then the core that they drilled out wouldn't hold. That the rock was so friable, it just collapsed because it was weathered rock apparently. That they came out. And they said that the hard rock was in front of it. Well, if you're doing boreholes at the back, it wasn't convincing at all. So, yeah, it was very intense. There was a lot of testosterone in the room. Sorry, people, but there was. In terms of geological, who was trying to out-geology each other with terminology and stuff. Yeah, it was interesting. So it's a case of wait for this space and wait to hear. I thought I heard somewhere 20-something days, 21, 28.
I think you might be right. I think there was a lot of technical stuff. One thing that I took away from it was that there's a lot of people in Newquay have worked very, very hard to stop this, be them individuals or the Save the Cliffs group or the town council, and I came away thinking, well, that's come to fruition. They haven't got a hope of this, of this being passed. But we'll see, won't we?
We'll
I think
see,
a lot of
but
people
I'm
worked
sure
really hard to get this result.
I wouldn't put money on that it doesn't come back in edition 4.
That's what I asked for at the end, really, because it's got to the stage now that this is where we ask that question, is whether it is, we know the original 2007 is protected, but all of these things coming in now, are they protected? Because effectively, we need someone to say, enough is enough. This is never going to work. You aren't going to be able to stabilise the cliff. That's an awful big ask for someone to do. So sadly, because you cannot fulfil the condition, your original planning is null and void.
It's a question, isn't it, which you asked, which is, whilst the original permission is protected from current policies, should subsequent current applications also be free of the restrictions of those policies? And I mean, it seems bonkers that they would be, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that's probably a job for a solicitor to sort out, maybe. I don't know.
You might be in for a judicial review. But at some stage, somebody is going to have to say enough is enough. You know, you're never going. They've had 3 shots at stabilising the cliff so far. Are we going to carry on for another 3 or 4? I mean,
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
well, the
It was
next
very
step is to wait the outcome of the report.
yes.
Yeah. Wait and see. Brilliant. Anything else that you've got that I haven't to discuss?
Use the browser. No,
So
we're on to planning applications
Right,
now.
yeah. Right, okay. Whew. Right, so... Yes, yeah. Right, so 10.1. So this is our first go at our triaging of the applications, and we've put 2 applications onto list 1 that, hang on if I can open them up. So this is the first time we've looked at this. So application 1, which is PA 2507755, which is 8 Place Park, is an extension at the front of the house. It's a very minimal. It was very small, flat roof. They've got a large garden at the back and the front, and so lots of amenity space. It wasn't going to stand out. The properties in there are offset from each other, and we're hoping to suggest no objection. Joanna?
I entirely agree with both your recommendations to put this on the triage list. Why no objection? Why not support? Because no objection is quite serious. No objection is we have a concern. Now, I know you said the basic the cover, all we always do is says just in case it's going to affect the immunity of anybody else. I saw no reason why you shouldn't support that one and the next one. And I would go on to say that actually on this triage list, they should all be supported.
I think
if there's something seriously enough wrong with them to make it a no objection, it should be coming to committee.
I think that's the point. The only concern I think for the first one was that they had a window facing the fence, that it was just covering our the no overlooking with the neighbour, with the planning officer. But I mean, at the moment,
it includes the wording, no objection, subject to confirmation from the case officer that the proposal wouldn't.
That's something we always put in. There's not. Yeah. I just couldn't see why you just didn't support it.
If I could just finish
I
then.
won't object to these 2, but I would say that in future we should be quite clear that if there's nothing wrong with the application, we should be supporting it. No objection tends to mean we've got a concern, but we haven't really got a good planning reason to say so.
Yeah, well, that's your interpretation of no objection.
That's what we've always done.
Yeah, but in fact, we actually support very, very few.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I would.
So,
not doing it enough.
Joe.
My view on your comment, Councillor Kenny, is that We have three options to vote. We have obviously support, object, and no objection. If you're saying by design or by policy that we are removing one of our three options, I would be uncomfortable with that.
Anyway, the other one then was PA 25/07713, which was a single-story flat roof kitchen extension again at the front of the property. It's down down by Trevemper. It's at the end of a cul-de-sac setback off the road, and again had no. It didn't have any impact. Again, the properties were offset, they were individual. And we just wanted the classic, the G2, things like the bird boxes and stuff like that put on it, which we often do with that. I think we'll take your points on board, Joanna, but for this time we've got it down, both down as no objections. So I'm looking to, I'm happy to propose that we'll, seconded by Sandy, that we have done due course that...
Could I read out?
Oh, if you want, yeah, sorry, Duncan.
So the resolution that I was thinking, having looked at a few others, the resolution that I was thinking was, so proposed and seconded and resolved that Newquay Town Council submit the agreed recommended responses to planning consultations, and then we pop the planning numbers in.
Yeah.
Where necessary, in future, where necessary, we can add to that resolution by saying, with the exception of PA, Burley-Burrs, which have been moved for individual discussion. Are we happy with that as a way forward? Because we might find, I'd hope that no councillors in the room would say at a meeting, this one needs to be discussed, because I would hope that you would have got back to me much sooner than on the night to let me know. Because I have great trust. But if a member of the public were in the room, yes, and for instance objecting to something that we were not objecting to, at that point it may be necessary to have a full discussion. That's how I view this as going forward. But the resolution tonight will be resolved that Newquay Town Council submitted the agreed recommended responses to planning consultations PA 25/07755 and PA 25/07713. There's an element of, this is the first time it's been done, and maybe being slightly cautious. I'm sure that confidence will grow as we do this more, and we'll be supporting this, that and everything. But, you know, there's an element of caution, perhaps.
Yeah.
Can't please all the people all the time.
No. So we've looked at AG9.3.EIs, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've just covered application 1. So application 2 is PA 25/07698. Dobbymore Wildflower Lane, and they want replacement of roof and first floor internal alterations, and some windows and things. And this is condition to compliance application, and you'll see it's a bit like going to the opticians. It's spot the difference, and is it better with or without? So Duncan's presenting this one.
So they built, or what they planned, I think that they were going to have trouble actually building it. So, for those of you who don't remember, you've got the bowling green here, this is Dobbin Moor, this one here. And we do have a tiny bit of a street view along Wildflower Lane. There it is. Okay.
There is a public objection then.
There is a comment. It's not an objection. It's a comment of support. It's actually the gentleman who had been concerned about overlooking and for whom the condition 3 with the obscure glazed window was put in response to his original objection to an earlier application. Anyway, this application is about an increase in the scale and mass at roof level, not an increase in ridge height. That stays the same. And the design and access statement explains the technical reason, which is basically the misjudgment of the existing roof pitch. So this is why they're having to do this. So it's really a case of a case of before and after. So I think we just need to have a look at the previous and then the new proposal. I don't think we need to worry too much about the existing because there's already a permission that prevents that. So hopefully you can see this is what was approved. If you look at that southwest elevation in the top left there, keep your eyes on that one. You can see the increase in scale and mass, not the ridge height, but the increase in scale and mass, and obviously that goes across the whole building. It does mean that there are some changes at first floor level, but they're not. They're just internal. So it's a change in the it's certainly a change in the appearance and the scale and mass, but it's not a taller structure than it would have been. I mean, really, that's it. If you want to look at anything more, please say.
To you because of its change in mass.
So the southwest elevation is one that will be facing Wildflower Lane. Sorry.
So it looks a bit odd. It's got
So this is what we had permission
looks a bit odd with these dormers to the sides.
That's what I decided would actually work. This, I mean, it is quite extreme looking, isn't it?
Very odd.
And
very odd.
yeah, I think when they say a misjudgment of the existing roof pitch,
And
I think
so-
basically they're saying that they wouldn't
And
have
there's
been
the
able to
dormer
build
here
it.
as well. So yeah, it's a lot simpler, isn't it? With yeah,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there is an increase in scale and mass, but not in the chart. If we just go back to the location plan, you can see that it's quite nicely separated from other properties. I suggest maybe we ask for that condition to small base window to be included again if
Yeah.
Melissa thinks it's
Yeah.
appropriate.
yeah.
Have I got the objection from the neighbour or the comment?
Oh, no, well, no, we haven't got the comment from the neighbour in the paperwork. It's
Sorry, I do apologise.
it's there on the.
No,
No.
I think it's in
Is it?
2 pages from back.
Oh gosh, I'm not doing well
Page
tonight.
5, Colin Morse.
Colin Morse. There you go, it's there. Is
Oh, that one at the. Oh right, okay.
So he was a previous objector.
2 ridges.
Anyone meant to make a proposal? Well, I propose. Yeah, go on, Joanna.
Well, since we're asking for a petition that isn't there, if this one does justify
Yeah.
If they've included the obscure window acquisition.
Yeah. And if we can do the G2 stuff as well, please, Duncan. Well. Yeah, Joe second. Yeah. Vote. Nick, I think, yeah. Yeah, this, the finger went up, yeah, yeah. Ha-ha.
Yeah, I am with you.
Okay, and oh, right, okay. Yeah, yeah. So application 3, PA 25/07829, is our friend coming back again for 1 Century Court. So I'm presenting this one. Yeah. It's the little conservatory that's sticking out that they want to convert into a room extension. So we had seen this before, and I think they withdrew it, didn't they, because we objected. So this time, yeah, because they've got everything on one document, basically. So this is it. This is currently then they've got this conservatory sticking out from the front of their property, which is glass all the way down. And can you scan down so we can just see an elevation of it? So these are the elevations. This is what it looks like from the side. So if we can bear that, and that's their front door there. So if we just have a look at the street view, there we go. And yeah, how this got planning, I really don't know. If we scan down the road, if we can just turn going down the hill, it's it is unique feature. And if you scan around the other way, there's nothing like that either on both sides of the road. So and then if we look at the next one, which is the proposed plans and elevations. Yeah. So yeah, if we can, if that's great. So what they're proposing then is to get rid of the conservatory and not come out further forward, but to widen it flush with the side here, so it becomes wider. And then have the corner as windows and give it a pitched roof. Joining up to the main roof there to match. And if you can scan down, then we'll see the illustration of that. So at face value, yeah, yeah. So that's the increase in width. So before their application was coming further out. It's not coming out further, it's becoming wider because this is a room extension inside. So it's a sitting area where they can look through this corner glass down the hill and up the coast effectively. So it gives them a view. This is then a precedent on the road. And so this is really open for view and discussion on this as to what you think the impact's going to be. It's going to be then really open it for open season for coming down or anywhere on the road, the extensions can be out the front. Joe, I think Joe was just going to...
Thanks. Do we have any artist impressions on 3D?
No, we've got what's on these.
We've got what's
on these questions.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, which you may or may not be able to ask? Am I correct in thinking that there was following the previous application, which was, I think it was withdrawn rather than refused, a pre-application advice went in, and they were told to effectively match the footprint that they'd got? You may or may not have seen that. I think I'm correct about that. So I don't even think that this matches the pre-app advice that they had.
No.
So I've got some wording here. A proposed extension in place of the existing conservatory, which would require a larger footprint and height, would be highly visible and detract from the character of the area. Seek alternatives. And that is from a pre-application advice that was published on the 6th of August. That's it. They put in that. They put in that, and this is a. I keep an eye on the conclusions of the pre-apps.
So are you saying they haven't taken the advice?
Yes. Yes. Yes, no, they haven't, no. It is a distraction from the character of the area because there's nothing else.
And the footprint is greater, and
Yes.
that's what they were told to seek alternatives to in their pre-app advice.
Yeah.
That's what they told you to do.
Yeah.
They were told to seek alternatives to anything that was a bigger footprint or a greater height.
Which that does, yeah. So, yeah, so I'm happy to propose objection on this. Nick's, yeah, Nick's seconding.
Well, can
Yeah.
we actually make reference to
And yes.
the pre-app advice? Because
Yeah.
that's actually what basically I'm saying.
Yeah, yes.
Disappointing that they haven't taken it on.
Well, the advice, yeah,
Duncan will do magic with
yeah,
words.
It appears they haven't taken it
yeah, yeah. Vote on that then?
Yeah, where you object on that?
Yeah, brilliant, thank you. Now the next one is a bit complex. So I'm doing application 4, and I'm going to be doing application 9 with it, because application 9 came in. This is about the trees at the California. We were expecting them to remove application 4, and they haven't. So I'll wait for Duncan to get the gubbins up.
Yeah, we might be a bit wonky with this one because
Yeah.
there's going to be elements of both, I think.
Both on this, yeah, so because I wanted you to see the photographs. So application 4 is PA25/07911. Works to trees covered by a tree preservation order. So 3, Monterey cypress, if you're not really into the Latin of the Macrocarpa species. So on application 4, they give a plan like this, and the location of the 3 trees, which is in the garden area. So the trees around the Hotel California have a group preservation order on because of their contribution to, their social contribution to the area. And the local community really rapidly got the TPOs on these trees, and with the tree preservation order, probably a couple of years ago when the plans first came in and the residents got this really quickly. So if we can just look at then, if we can just go through those 4 photos.
What's the difference between 4 and 9?
Well, we're good because we've got the tree officer report on that, and it is just slightly different. But yeah, if you can just bear with me on this. So these are the photos we've got. So what happens? Can you zoom in on that one?
Yeah.
What's happened is that somebody has done willful damage to these trees. And they've sliced around the bark. Now, a tree will die if you cut all the way around the bark. A tree can still survive if it has just a bit attached for the sap to rise up for the bark, because the sap goes up the tree on the outside. And if we go to the next photo, there it is. It's been willfully cut then with a chainsaw all the way around the edge. And the next one. That's the sighting of the 3 trees. So you can see that the ground has been disturbed right up into the trees. So they're meant to be protected. The root systems are meant to be protected too with TPO. And the next one. And again, so all three trees. So if we then go to application 9, PA25, /08/045. If we can just look at the photos again, these. So this is then being put in by the tree consultant. And if you just scan through, he's not pleased. So I think these are better photos. And then if we go down, and then he's got a statement, I think, at the bottom. There's this one, which isn't in the other ones. That's been done, and you can see all the disturbance at the bottom and everything. I think does he have a statement down there? So it was just there were different photographs. No, or was it the statement at the top? No. No, it's not. Okay. If we can just have a look at the location plan and tree schedule. So again, this is a detailed plan. So this is why I wanted to cover both of them together, really. So this is the tree with the canopies and everything that's from the original schedule. These are the red, 3 in red are the ones that need to be replaced. So I think if you scan down on this, I think this has got the comment on it. Yeah, so this has got the, can you enlarge that, please? I can't. There we go. So the trees shown in red have suffered from significant chainsaw wounds to their stems. These cuts have appeared since my last site visit in 2022 and prior to the existing owners took over the site. The cuts do not appear to have had a significant effect on the physiological ability of the tree to function as yet, but their structural integrity has been compromised. Consequently, I do not believe these trees can be safely retained. The trees will be replaced with like for like. This will comprise of 3 Monterey cypress planted as standard trees. So a standard tree you'd expect to be about 2 meters in height. So then if we can go to the tree officer comment, please, Duncan. There was the link there. No, that's all right. The tree officer, yeah, comment.
One that's been submitted on the...
No, the tree officer, yeah, on 9, that's on the portal, yeah.
You've not got that in front of you.
Oh, it's in here, it is, I'm really sorry, yes.
You should have a...
So the tree officer comment is in here. On page 3. Given the condition of the trees due to the willful damage post-placement placement of the preservation order, they are not considered retainable long-term and the removal is required as a matter of safety. The removed trees shall be replaced with 1 stone pine and 2 maritime pine, fed at the whips between 1.75 and 2 metres high within 2 metres of the stump of the felled trees immediately following removal. Reasoning for the planting times, given that this is a development site, the trees will need to be planted to allow time for establishment prior to occupation of the units. The area will also be required to be retained within a construction exclusion zone to allow the surrounding soils to be protected to prevent compaction for machinery movement and construction activity, thereby allowing for root growth of the trees as they mature. The replacement trees shall be retained and if removed, become seriously damaged or diseased or die within 5 years of planting, shall be replaced with the same species and specification. The existing tree preservation order would be to be updated to reflect the new species to allow the continuation protection of trees in this location. So I'm not sort of quibbling that, but what I am quibbling is that I've also sent Duncan the government legislation for the willful damage to trees.
Do we have any evidence of who did it? Because I'm furious about this.
Not that we've seen through this, I'm afraid, but then it's not necessarily our provision. So what if you can just bear with a minute. So So where we have, sorry Duncan, can you enlarge that a bit for me? Thank you. Oh, if not, okay. So it starts off this section that it's up to the local authority to look into this. It is there is also due to requiring landowners to replace tree outlets. So if we can scan down slowly. Right, there we go. What are the offences and who can be guilty of committing them? So there we go. It's section 210 in brackets 1 and section blurk of the Town and Country Planning Act 1990 provide that anyone who is in contravention of a tree preservation or cuts down, uproots or willfully destroys a tree or blurk is guilty of an offence. This is what we've been lacking. It's really well hidden. It took me about an hour to find this. It sets out as an offence for anyone, contravenes, and I think if you continue down, the penalty is a £20,000. I think it's got it in here. Yes. To a magistrate's court to a fine of up to 20,000. In serious cases, a person might be committed for trial or Crown Court. If convicted, is liable for unlimited fine. So basically what I'd like is that, yes, I support the planning officer, but I would like, and as you, as the county council, representative for the site, that we encourage Cornwall Council to pursue a criminal act on this of the trees.
I totally support you. Can I just go back to which trees they are there? Because I'm looking at the pictures. And of course, what made the difference with this development was the wonderful trees that protected the views in all directions. So which three have they gone for?
Does that help? Or
Which three? Which of
BC, I'm not convinced it's these three red ones. So if you look at that back to the photograph, it's the ones in a row. There's ones which show them from a distance. I think it's in application 4, not application 9. So that, it's, yeah. So it's this one.
There are three in a row.
Photo 4.
That are to the west.
Yeah.
Which I think might be the one.
You see, those three, I don't think are the three trees they've identified even in that plan as the three ones, because these are the three in a row. It's quite hard to tell, because I think this one's further down the slope.
Yes.
So if we
probably don't mind doing this. These are the original photo apps. I think it's probably those two.
it is though, yeah.
Well, that's outrageous because
Yeah.
it's sort of,
Yeah.
just in case anybody you think it's these three.
So
It means
from
that
from
those are the three that
from the
protect view
outside.
From the
So-
gallery.
Yeah, go on, Duncan.
Can I ask a question? So I've not looked as closely at these as I would normally. So application 4 is from Acorn Construction.
Yeah.
Application 9 is from Acorn Blue. Is it the Acorn Blue, Acorn Construction? Is it them who are saying we need to do work to these trees because they've been damaged?
Yes.
Yeah, it was that.
But is it them who have damaged them?
Well, that's what we don't know.
We don't know.
So we really need an investigation under this
that's-
legislation to find out
Yeah.
who is responsible.
And that's due to Cornwall Council with the tree preservation order. So, yes, I support that, and I'd
Now,
recommend.
he's obviously very angry.
Because
Yeah.
sorry to jump in again, my other question is that if it's Acorn Blue who've caused damage and now they're applying for works, How do you object to that? Do you support
No, I
that?
don't think we have any choice. I think
No,
we
because
have to
the trees are
accept
unsafe.
what the tree officer is recommending.
Yeah.
He's saying the tree's going to die. We need to cut them down because of the damage, and they need to be replaced with this.
But we need a
But you're supporting the tree officer, but are you supporting the application from
Well, I think we
Acorn
have no
Blue,
choice.
who potentially? Do you see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of a bit.
I think we
just
have to approve the
confused.
application, but ask for an investigation
we
under
need
this legislation.
we need that criminal investigation under this legislation, which has got to come from Cornwall Council, because effectively this is just carte blanche for anybody then cutting down any tree that, okay,
Yeah.
we just go, and we've had that demonstrated just down the road.
Yeah.
And so I think and you know, that's why I wanted with the tree officer feedback from the previous
So I
application
don't think we
we
have
saw
any
down the road.
choice on the application. They're saying
No, because they're
damaged and
unsafe.
Yeah.
Yes, Lamorna, yeah.
But what about the building works? Because I don't know a lot about Hotel California. Because obviously if you plant new...
The planning went through ages ago about houses and apartments being built on the site. And this was all going to be preserved and all part of the landscape. And yes, we won't be touching the trees.
We'll have
But
a tree
clearly,
management plan, they said. You don't need
Yeah.
a TPO because we've got a tree management system.
and hang on Nick, and sort of like, and they came back because there was a green roof shed they were going to put in, was replacing that one. That's gone. And so it's just this general erosion of the site where the root systems have been clearly disrupted too with machinery, and that clear vandalism of the trees to kill them, to get them out of the way. Because of course, if you're looking at it from this angle, it gives you a clearer view.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just
not-
worried... Oh, sorry. I'm just worried that that they'll damage the replacement trees and then in 5 years' time plant another, you know, as this says. And
So the tree preservation order, when the area will also be required to be retained within the construction exclusion zone to allow the surrounding soils to be protected, to prevent compaction from material. So the tree officer has covered that, and he said that, you know, the trees will need to be planted to allow time for establishment prior to occupation of the units. Those trees need to be in before any of those places should be sold or occupied.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not surprised they attack them because they preserve the view of that fairly harsh building between the Gannon, which is lovely. I mean, I thought the original plans, what they were planning to do, they came in and they made this commitment.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, we do not know who did this. It could have been some vandals, but we don't think so. It could have been some vandals. And I think you're absolutely right, Sarah. We need to sort of say, we have no choice. We've got no choice on this. We have to get them.
Yeah.
But we do need to, to ask for and I will happily follow that up. If you make that
Please
recommendation.
do, yes.
I will happily go back and say, I support this absolutely. This is not the first time that we've had someone attacking trees.
Yeah.
And
Duncan?
occasionally they turn around and say, oh, there's no sign that says you can't cut a tree down. Thinking, but this is different. This is a planning application.
Yeah. Duncan?
It's starting to sound like our own Sycamore Gap, isn't it? It's
It is.
And I'm horrified that
as
it's been moved
a
to do this.
as a start to a response, I've just scribbled down. Given these trees have effectively been killed, destroyed,
Yeah. Vandalised.
vandalised, we fully support their replacement in line with strictly in line with the tree officer's recommendations.
Yeah.
Would you be happy for that
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
means to start this?
Yeah.
And then
However,
we would expect this to be followed up, investigation and
Under the
reference to the
legislation.
Yes.
to the law.
and reference to the law, please,
Yeah.
in terms of this. And
I just want to make
as
sure
it's-
I'm on the
as
same
it's a
page with
magistrate
you with
court,
this
to
one, that's
begin
all.
with, and then it will be up to them. So I would expect then Cornwall Council legal team to start looking into this with the
Well,
tree
yeah.
preservation officer.
We can only strongly recommend, and I
Yeah.
can only strongly recommend and
Yeah.
find out what is it. But I'm incredibly disappointed by this
Yeah.
because
It's
it is
appalling.
changing the
Yeah.
entire look of this wonderful
Yeah.
set of cypresses they have.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's given carte blanche that basically, if all they've got to do is replace it with 3 trees, which quite frankly, probably, you know, as a pine, 40, 50 pounds a piece, 150 quid. It's nothing, is it
I'm
really?
surprised he's
And a rap
asking
on the
for pines
knuckles.
and not a replacement of the Monterey.
Yeah, why are they not replacing like-for-like species?
It's more native species and it's what's similar there. The thing is with, you know, Monterey cypress is that they are, you can see on that, you know, bits are falling off it. They are a shorter lived tree as opposed to Scots pine and the pines, which are native species and are coastal resilient.
I know a little bit about this. Apparently there was a time, maybe turn of the century-ish, when in Newquay, a real sign of your affluence and the fact that you've got on in the world was planting these, because they grow so flipping tall that, that you know, it's a real sort of status symbol, and that's why there are so many of them around. You look at that one in Trenance Gardens, I mean, that's like the biggest tree I've ever seen. And that's why there are so many of them, but the tree officer obviously feels that they're a more suitable species, native species. There you go.
So I'm proposing the comment back to the tree officer in terms of yes, but with that, we're very reluctant and horrified, mortified as to what's being done, and the expectation that Cornwall Council would look for criminal proceedings against this. Seconder?
I was going to say something, but...
Oh, okay,
missed
sorry,
me
Nick,
out.
sorry, yeah.
I think they got away very lightly with 3. I'd have made them put 6 back, personally.
But it is the recommendation he's making, which is specifically these things have got to grow and be established before you sell any of the... And that is, I mean, how long does it take for pines to grow? Quite a long time, I
Well,
think.
to be established and to be stable, you see, that's quite a long time. They've got to be planted, so really, you see, the whole tree needs rubbing up. Right, because of, you know...
But that's what he's
within 2
saying. He's
metres
saying,
of the tree
is he
stump.
saying you can't do any of the flats until these trees... So that in themselves is quite a penalty.
Yeah, but not enough as far as I can see. I think there needs to be a public stand on this. That's the whole point of the legislation of criminal coming in.
Okay.
Well, hopefully the people that ask for the TPO might know of what happened. You know.
I doubt it. I mean, and it's
No,
but it is on their property.
No, I was hearing talk about the developers cutting down firs. This was about a month ago, and you know, they're coming back and saying what's going on. And I said, well, we'll look into it. And the tree officer is the same one who actually put the TPO in the first place. Yeah, he was the one who, and I mean, he moved incredibly quickly. And I think it's just outrageous what's happened.
We have a proposal, is there a second for this?
Thank you, Sandy. All those in favour? Yes.
Do you want
So-
the pictures that we've got from the original, because I've got them, the 3 artist impression of what it was going to look like?
Yeah. And can we make sure that we keep what we've all sent you for the future? Or,
Can we ask
so,
them?
well, I don't know. Do you get rid of applications when they go through? No, you keep them. If you're forever. But if we could make a special tree. They're lost. Okay. But we need both those applications because the photos are different. Thank you. Yeah,
Can
Joanna.
we, if I provide the photos, can we ask them exactly which trees, because we're not clear which trees have gone?
Yeah. Yeah.
And say, you know, please indicate on the illustrations of which
Yeah.
trees are going.
Yeah. Because the
difference is quite significant.
The site plan is being supplied by the ecology tree person that they've employed, whereas we need to, I think, see a map coming from the tree officer to to identify those 3 trees, because I'm not convinced those are
Yeah.
the same 3 trees.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that okay, Duncan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
do that, but that's
Thank you.
outside this response.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Application 5, PA 25/07761, 39 to 47 4th Street. Change, yes. So this is the corner site where the Bearded Brewery has their shop at the moment. Change of use including external alterations of first floor, redundant former restaurant to create, oh no, this is the 4th Street one, sorry, getting front. This is it's in the Newquay Voice today, further along from Sailors, by the car park corner. Used to be the Dolphin?
Yeah.
Used to be the Dolphin restaurant, for those of you who can remember that. To create, going back a long way, I remember going to it in the 80s. Creating 4 self-contained flats together with conversion of existing second floor flat to create 3 self-contained flats. Removal of freestanding steel staircase to the rear of premises and construction of new communal stair enclosure to serve the proposed flats together with ancillary improvement work. We brought that up for committee because of discussion, of course, that it's going to be the loss of what was a business upstairs, even though it hasn't been there and working for quite a while. So it was just in accordance with our neighbourhood plan for discussion. Duncan.
Right.
Do you want to turn your
Oh, sorry.
Right, okay. So we'll start off with the overhead view. So it's between the application site is between these labels on here for the Herd and St Christopher's Inn. Okay, so it's this bit here. Okay, we have a nice street view. There you go, Stardust Amusements. I've also got a view of the rear, which I think we'll go back to, but I'll quickly bring that up now.
So it'd be nice to see it have some material.
So that's the rear. I bring that up because most of the changes in appearance, the structural changes to the buildings, are actually going to be at the rear of the building. But we'll go back to the front again.
That's going down the Harbour Hill, isn't it?
Yes. Right. So there's several elements to this application: external alterations, which are mainly at the rear, the creation of 4 self-contained flats at first floor level, the conversion of the second floor flat into 3 self-contained flats. There's 1 flat up on the top here at the moment. It's going to be that space is.
One flat staying the whole building.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have a look at the plans. But there's 1 dwelling unit, if you like. There will be 3 under this proposal. There is the removal of a freestanding staircase, steel staircase to the rear, and the construction of a new communal staircase to serve the proposed flats. Just going, where are we? Site location plan. I was just going to zoom in on that quickly, just so that you can appreciate the proximity to the neighbours. You've got the Pavilion Bakery to the left, and you've got the further retail units to the right. Belushi's behind. It's a commercial area generally, anyway. So the design and access statement makes the case for conversion to C3 residential units of what is currently a redundant first floor and second floor space. The desk hop that ceased some months ago, apparently. Attention is drawn in the design and access statement to Slots Amusement on East Street, which if it was if it wasn't dark outside, we could probably see straight out the window there. Slots Amusements owned by the same individual, and a similar conversion of a redundant first floor space was approved in September 2023 and not objected to by this committee.
And they've built it, they've done the roof.
I think that they're doing the works now. The DNA statement also describes the opportunity to carry out external refurbishment and renovation works to the fabric of the property to improve the visual appearance of the street scene. I think that's really with regard to kind of like windows and stuff at the front, because you can see some of them look perhaps a little bit tired. And I think some of this sort of kind of furniture on the front, the aircon unit, etc., are probably going to go. But the main changes in visual appearance will be to the rear, and it says there will be a reduction in the overall massing at the rear. And there's a good picture of the rear on page 2 of the DNA statement, which we shall have a quick look at. If we can... Yeah, there we go. So I think they're making the point that it's not the most attractive of Newquay's buildings. So, I've taken a bit of a liberty with this, like sometimes I do, because the documents were it's just like wading through treacle. So what I've done is I've kind of amassed existing and proposed, I've basically dissected their documents and put them into something that will be a little bit easier for us all to digest, I think. So to start with, we've got the, we're gonna make that a little bit larger. What we're really focusing on here is the rear of the building. The top is the existing, the bottom is the proposed. So you'll see that there is a tidying up in terms of this staircase going. If I just zoom in a little more, you can see that what we've got here are screened terraces.
Two staircases.
So there are currently 2. This one here is actually going to be the enclosed staircase. So I mean, they've shown the stairs, but it's actually going to be, you won't actually see that. It's going to be enclosed.
And the door there, isn't it?
Yeah. So key changes are that they're tidying it up. Some of this, I mean, this extraction here, this chimney is going, and they are remodelling it so that you have outdoor terrace kind of balcony spaces for these new apartments that they're going to create. We'll talk about the floor space in a minute. We'll have a look at the street scene next, I think. Again, we'll look at this at 100%. I think you can appreciate that there's not a huge change. The main change is here, where the desk top is, or on the street view image that we looked at. I think there's some tidying up of the external appearance in terms of windows.
And it's losing the extractor, which I presume came from the restaurant on the roof. I think we could see that on the previous one as well, on the rear one as well. So the desk hop part, this bit here, is being remodelled and raised from being 2 stories to 3 stories. The little pitch roof facade next to it is the Pavilion Bakery. So you're going from what was a 2-story blue bit to up to a 3-story.
Is there something behind it? What's this? If we go back to that diagram.
It's part of the building.
Yeah.
But it obviously gets flattened out in the drawing. So this white line at the top is part of this larger building, and it goes up to a 3rd story. But obviously the drawings kind of flatten it out. It's this bit here that you're looking at. So there is a 3-story element to it.
So it's going to make it flush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So effectively that three-storey is coming forward to line up with the rest of the building, so it'll have a more uniform appearance. The next one I did was, right, so floor plan, again, 100% for that one. Right, okay, oh, that fits on there quite nicely, I'm quite proud of that, thank you. Right, we have, so this is the existing first floor. There's various kitchens, bar bits, there's a lounge area. I presume that this was all to do with this long gone restaurant, and it's now a redundant space. The proposed first floor, what we can see, I'll zoom in a bit further on that actually. So what we've got is we've got external alterations. These are seen at the top of the pictures. And these are these screen terraces that are being created, okay, as well as this enclosed stairwell. My concern is, if we just zoom in a little bit more, we've got 4 flats at this level. We've got flat 1. It's a 2-bedroom, 3-person accommodation, so it's 1 single and 1 double. Its floor space is 58.5 square metres. The nationally described minimum space standard will require 61 square metres, and that's the minimum, nationally described minimum space, so it falls beneath the minimum. Flat 2 is a 2-bedroom, 3-person. That's got 62. Again, 62 square metres. Again, that would require 61, so it's just above the minimum.
Well, that one, you says it's 3-person, but it's got 2 double beds in it.
It's...
Could be a 4.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at least with flat 1, it's a single bed and a double.
Yeah, it indeed. The flat 3... again, is down as a 2-bedroom, 3-person, but it does have 2 double bedrooms, and it's just a little bit over the minimum. And this one troubles me a lot. This other flat kind of runs sort of, flat 1 runs sort of front to back. It's described as a 1 double bed, 1/2-person. If it were for 1 person, it would need 39 square metres.
What does it say on that?
If it were...
What does that say?
Well, it says required is 37. I thought that the required was 39. So if it were a 1-person accommodation, it would meet the minimum standard. But they've got it as 1/2-person. If it were a 2-person accommodation, it would require 50 square metres. So it falls massively below the minimum, a considerable amount.
Can I also point out with this one, all it's got is a little window at the front, and I think if you scroll down, Duncan,
Yeah,
and a little window at the back.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a bit disappointing they didn't put any windows on the side in this instance, but I mean, it's creating new outlets, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that I'd say was definitely lacking on the right front. But
Yeah, so we have a...
Nick, do you want to say, we can let Duncan finish off? Yeah, thank you.
So we have a second floor accommodation. This has got flats 5, 6 and 7, so 3 flats. The existing is, although it's said to be redundant, the existing is a, looks like it was a 3-bedroom, 1, 2, 3 bedroom.
This is the one flat.
This is one flat. In fact, it's got 4 bedrooms up there. That's and an office and various habitable rooms. So it's quite a decent space up there. And this has got is being converted into 3. There's a 1-person, 1-bedroom flat. There's a 2-person, 2-bedroom flat, and sorry, there's 2-person. There's a 4-person one here, which I'll just zoom in. Hopefully, we can see. It's got a floor space of 68.5. It would need a floor space of 70. So, yeah, sorry, there's 2-bedroom, 4-person flats. This one here and this one next to it, and they both fail to meet the standard as well. So we've got, I've lost count now, it's about 4 of them that don't meet the minimum space standard.
So, Joanna?
I think the 2 halves of this. One is, do we have a problem with the redundant restaurant being turned into flats?
Personally, not. I think we can note it down as a regret that nobody's come in to manage
I think we have a serious concern about we have to object based on the floor space. I think the one on the side is a grotty little flat, but people are so desperate for accommodation that we have to object based on the fact that they're less than the basic standards.
Personally, I acknowledge that it's great that they're putting, the flats in, and we acknowledge that they need and things, but I think they just need to reduce the number of flats. So I'm proposing. I'm happy to propose. Oh, Nick, you wanted to say something? Go on, Nick.
I was happy to propose or second this. So yeah, it's all due to the size of the actual flats. They're just too small on.
So it is, but
I think this is 4.
So I'm proposing then an objection on this, that on the habitation space for the amount of flats stroke people that they're proposing within that, but welcome that they're developing it, and really for bringing back accommodation to the centre of towns and things. It's just that it's too cramped, and the lighting as well, particularly.
The changes at the back, or changes to the
yes, there's no issues with that, and we welcome the improvement in the facade, and have no issue with the matching, the flushing of the front of the property. That's not a problem at all. It's just, I think there's just too many flats in that they're expecting for the space. Yeah.
I'll second Sarah's proposal.
I was just going to say, I assume there's no parking, but where it is not.
No, I mean, it's,
parking
There
policy.
is. So
at the back there's a courtyard area, so they might have some there.
no, the existing parking is none. The proposed parking is none.
Yeah.
In terms of materials, they do make reference to that, to our policy on page 5. Using, let's just have a quick look at that. Whereabouts does it say? Materials. We will propose simple material palette for the elevational treatment, comprising smooth, hard, coat render and masonry paint for ease of maintenance, white UPVC, eaves and soffits, marine grade stainless steel ironmongery. So they are acknowledging the neighbourhood plan policy, and in terms of accessibility, they are. It did sound like they were. Why does it say that? Current main access to the first floor is via restrictive stair and would no longer be suitable. Upon review, various possible options existed. They've said that the they've said that a dedicated, enclosed and compliant communal staircase seemed to be the most appropriate solution. So they have looked at accessibility.
The thing else we need to add in that is bins and recycling, where that's going to go. And at the front, I think there's going to be an issue of light pollution coming up from the signage. Can we just have a look at the street view again?
So there is bins and stores have been
They have got them.
accounted for.
Okay.
There is a
But if we can have a look, just look at the street, the Google street. There we go. So I am presuming, I tried to Google it and I couldn't find it for what this looks like at night, but I think this is strip light that comes down here. Nick, can you remember what it looks like at night?
Yes, it is. It's just a little thing that each individual one.
The letters are
The
all lit up.
letters are all.
But I
yeah.
think there's a strip light behind that here. So I'd like it to, that there needs to be the
residents need to be protected from
from
light.
from light pollution from the flats above, please. Thank you.
Before we move on to the next one.
We haven't done a vote on this
sorry,
yet. But
okay.
yeah, I know we need to do extra time and everything.
And
as well.
I need to go as well.
Okay,
that's
right,
really-
it's fine. Has anybody got anything else that they want to put on there? Bit of sustainable energy on the roof would be good.
Oh, the one thing is how much light pollution is going to go out the back of it, because at the minute there wouldn't be very much, would there? It's because what you'd see from LE2.
This
Yeah,
is
what
the
would it
front.
do to LE2, you know, as you look at it from the sea, how much more would there how much
don't
more
see-
light would there be at the back?
From
the other side.
yeah.
I think it looks a lot better.
Yeah, I think a little bit better. I
It's
mean, 'cause-
already an illuminated
yeah,
townscape
around it.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah. There's balushes and things around it. I don't think it will necessarily stand out like building Helican. Okay. 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 So yeah, vote on that then. We had a seconder, wouldn't we? Yeah. No. Yeah. Nick seconded. Yeah. So voting on that, then projection on it. Yeah. 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 Thank you. So, can I propose that we extend for another hour? I'm hoping we won't need that. Seconder? Yes. All those in favour? Yeah. So extension. We're saying farewell to Nick. Now, do we need a comfort break at the same time? Yeah, 5 minutes. Could we? So I'll see everybody back here in 5 minutes. Thank you, Nick. Welcome back, everybody. We're all composed, minus Councillor Morris, who had to go for previous engagement. Right, we're on item 10, so we're looking at planning applications. So next one up is application 6, PA 25/07848, 6A and 7 Central Square, alteration to shop, flat front, and side elevations of those premises. This is the where the Bearded Brewery shop is at the moment, and the baker's next door. So Duncan's just going to dung up. So we brought this up for attention because it's 2 businesses going into one. Yeah, and it's going to be a flat above. So over to Duncan. Sorry, Duncan.
Was it 3 before?
No, it's 2 businesses before. This is an old photograph. So all that it's blue is here is now the Bearded Brewery shop.
Yeah.
This is just an old
I've got
photograph.
pictures of that
Yeah.
up to date. I've got
Yeah.
pictures of the up to date and the design and access statement. So yeah, anyway, we're talking about what on this is shown as Jamie's Pasties and the shop, and that's a June 2023 image. So there does appear to be some discrepancy in the numbering. We've got 6, 6A and 7, and then we've got on the map 6, 7 and 7A, but I think the application documents are correct. I think it's actually the mapping. It looks like they've used Cornwall Council mapping. I think it's that's wrong. But anyway, that's not for us to really worry about. We've got some existing floor plans of the 2 buildings. So you've got a ground floor which shows the 2 retail units. So on the left is Jamie's Pasties, and on the right is the one that's it's now the Bearded Brewery, as Sarah said. And then we've got the upstairs space. Let's just zoom in on that. So there is actually accommodation above. You've got a loft space to number 7, and then sort of kind of above number 6 and halfway across number 7, you've got a small flat, habitable room, single bedroom, which is accessed from the Gover Lane side. Okay. So the design and access statement is sort of crucial to this one. It offers some background to the current application, including some tenancy difficulties with the owner and the tenants. I'm not going to go into that in this meeting, even though it has been sort of kind of publicly, it's in the public realm, but we don't need to go into that. What it tells us is that the 2 retail units will be amalgamated into one, and it's intended that this one unit will be a bakery, and above the flat known as 6A Central Square will be totally renovated to be used as a flat and accommodation associated with the bakery. If I just open up the DNA statement, there you go. You've got a sort of a view of the front elevation, the side, and then the rear. Comment is made about the bad state of repair that the property has fallen into, and this is one of the reasons why the owner may have had difficulties with the tenants and is certainly keen to improve the building where necessary. Right, so...
Duncan, can I just ask a question?
very clear. He's
No.
taking the two properties,
Yes, yes,
two
making it
retail
one.
units, amalgamating them into one, and that is going to be a bakery.
So we're going to have one instead of the bearded brewery and
Yeah.
But you're not losing any retail space.
No.
yeah, I'm not sure how. One of the interesting things is how old is that building?
So, if I put this at 50%, we can see, I think, all of the elevations in one go. There you go. Don't know why. Ah,
Not
right.
the rear. It's missing the rear.
So, you've got the west view twice. One is with the canopy and one is without canopy. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, they're sort of they're not going down the road as sort of the kind of modern kind of banner sort of signs. It looks as if the aesthetic is going to be a little bit sort of more vintage. But this is it amalgamated into one. So obviously there's works to be done to the fenestration. If we scroll up, we can see that's the floor. Obviously now an open floor space. And probably the more interesting one is going to be the living space, because they're going to make use of the whole floor. It did have a void space. Part of the space above number 7 was void, but they're actually going to utilise all of it. Still be a one bedroom, but as you can see, it's much larger open plan living and even a walk-in wardrobe. It's a one bed, 2 story accommodation. It would require, therefore, we're back to nationally described minimum space standards, it would require 50 metres squared of internal floor space. By my reckoning, the flat will actually benefit from approximately 77 metres squared. So it's
Get
so.
another couple of flats in there.
Stop it. Stop it.
What was I just going to do? I was just going to compare the roof plans to make sure there's nothing wildly different going on there. No, there isn't. It's exactly the same. So, yeah. So I think, in actual fact, I believe that is the rear.
No, it's not. If you scroll up scroll up, there. So that's one. That's the other one. We haven't got the back. So that's the side. That's that diagonal. We haven't got a back.
Let's just. Do you mind if I just have a?
Yeah, you
quick
can go along
skinny
there.
round?
So that's one. That's
Yeah,
one
that's
view.
one of them.
And then you go down, and then that's the other view.
Yeah,
It
which
hasn't.
is the back, isn't it? Oh,
No,
sorry.
it's got the back
You're
alley.
you're talking about
The
looking
back.
looking
yeah.
at that.
Which is where the entrance
Okay.
for the flat is,
The-
behind
well,
there.
so the entrance to the flat, I believe, is this person here. I think that's the entrance to the flat, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't the access and
Let's-
change, and I'm a bit concerned with all that scaffolding there.
Yeah, that scaffolding, I think, is to do with the poor repair
Yeah,
of the building.
yeah. But,
So I think his intention is to get rid of that when he improves the building.
yeah, well, when it's, hopefully not falling down. But I'm just saying that we haven't got a rear elevation from that side.
Right, okay.
All into some kind of courtyard.
It's that passageway. So in the design and access statement, it was all that alleyway full of
Yeah.
stuff. But I'm not sure how the access is from upstairs from downstairs. So if we go back and you go back to the floor plan.
The only thing that worries me is those windows that we've got. I don't know enough about it to say the 3 windows fairly traditional, and then they're getting rid of one of them and putting in.
We don't know if they're sash windows, do we? So is this in the
actually they're getting rid of all 3 of them, and because the one on the end is an extra one. They're not particularly beautiful, are they?
No.
And I don't think I will ask whether the building is historic or not, but
It doesn't look like it,
It's
does it?
not
Because it hasn't got
symmetrical, is
slate on like the front, from the front here. That's gone over time, hasn't it? They're putting a window here, and those
they're taking
3
those 2 out.
are becoming 2.
So
So, I mean, the facade at the front looks a lot nicer. I don't have qualms with that. Can we just go to the floor plans as well?
The proposed, yeah.
Well, if we could have a look at so that's the first floor with a door access here. So I presume, but where is it down on the ground floor? I don't understand what's going.
Is it not
on
completely
here.
independent?
Well, there doesn't seem to be an accountability of.
They're saying
Of
it
if
belongs
that's
to
the
the
out-
bulkhead, doesn't it? They're saying it's going to be associated with so there must be interconnection between them.
So number 6A somehow, but you see that the ground floor should have a door, and it doesn't. I don't understand what's going on. You know, you just don't have a line that stops. As to so.
Odd back, isn't it? Is that the wall?
It is. I think that wall is kind of like a facade, isn't it? You're not actually walking into the building.
Yeah, it's that kind of bit where it says higher.
The only entrance.
No,
is
no,
from
that's
the front.
not. This isn't on the plan at all. This bit of wall is not on the plan at all.
But I don't think that really affects the application. You go in through this bit,
Yes.
and then I think that there's a doorway here, which has got stairs that go straight upstairs.
Yes, it is, but it's not on the first. It's not on the ground floor plan, though, Duncan, as
Right.
to what
Is that,
there's an accounting
is that
for
a
it.
problem for us?
But because we don't have an elevation as going on the back, I don't know what's going on the back, and it's sort of like, where is the?
Well, they appear to
The
be
re-
saying there's no door on the back. They're getting rid of the door on the back, and the only entrance is that entrance on the ground floor.
Well, they say they have a
haven't
door
actually
access
joined
here.
The 2 floors together, have they?
So there's the door access here. So, sorry, can we have a look at the proposed? So this is the proposed first floor form. So that's their access somewhere in there. You're going upstairs to that. But this is the proposed ground floor.
No, because there's no connection between them.
And so they just still have a door here at the back. But there's no toilet. There's no anything in that. So what are the staff meant to be doing?
Well, I think that it says is that the accommodation is going to be associated with
Yeah, you're saying there's no staff toilet in the
Where
shop.
are the staff? Where's
It's
the
just an
staff?
empty space, isn't it?
Yeah, and actually where they've put the new double doors, I think is where the connecting wall was between the property. So I'm concerned that we don't have enough information as to what's really happening with the ground floor. I mean, what's this?
That's the underneath of the stairs going up to the.
It doesn't match.
Doesn't it?
No.
It's a bit narrow, isn't it?
Those are the only drawings we have.
These are the only drawings we have.
I think we'd like to send it back.
And we can't tell from that. That's why I said we haven't got a rear elevation to work out really what's going on here.
Can I just say, I quite like the idea.
Yes, I haven't,
And I think we should do what we can to encourage the applicant to insert a bit of more
Yeah.
details of the plans.
Yeah, I mean, you can still, you can query the accuracy of the plans, but
yeah,
the principle
it's not
of-
enough for us
the
to, yeah.
principle, or our understanding
Yeah.
of the plans, but the principle, we
Yeah.
probably ought to focus on the principle as well.
Yeah, the bigger
Yeah.
picture, I think, is
Just
let's
one
not...
clarification of the points.
But I don't know whether we're in a position to say yes to it at the moment. I think it might need to
I
come
d-
back with a few more...
Yeah, because they haven't got anything, they've just got a hole where
Yeah.
the ground floor is, basically.
yeah.
Yeah, and
I think it's
there is
gonna
a bit of
work,
a challenge
but-
because it's an unusual space, but I think they could have done better with the drawings so we can understand what's going on.
Is that an external? Are those steps actually an external?
Well, it might
Entrance
be,
to the
Duncan,
flat.
but
It
it's
is,
not on
isn't
the
it? Yeah.
plans. We don't know. So that could be going.
You'd expect to have a rear have we
Yeah.
not
We
got?
we
Some
need
idea
a
of
rear
what we're trying
elevation.
to do.
We've not got an east view, is what
So,
you're saying.
a north view. No, east view, yes.
We've got a
yes.
southeast view.
Yes, but that's, as we said, that's the two bits of odd-shaped, angled bits from the top of Gover Lane and at the top. We haven't got one round the rear, and so I am concerned. So if they are removing that fire escape, then
So what's the way forward on this? Because I don't really just want to sort of chuck it out, because I think it's quite an interesting application.
Can we ask
I
for more information?
I don't see why we can't. That we're keen for this as is from in the theory, because it says interestingly, like from here, access is straight from the public road. Well, actually, no, it's not. There's access at that, still holding that back door at the back, and what's going on upstairs. So I found that the design, the statement was lacking and didn't really correspond, because it doesn't actually, we are only inferring the loss of the Bearded Brewery. It is saying that the merger's in there, so that business is going.
Notice will be served to
Oh, yes,
vacate 6
yeah.
and 6A and to amalgamate the two shops into one.
Yes,
Um,
and the Bearded Brewery is in number 7. If we go, so I think there's just general confusion, because 6A is the flat upstairs.
Number 7, Central Square, is under a lease outside the Landlord and Tenant Act and will be
Yeah.
returned to me at the end of 2026. So whoever's in number 7, which is
The Bearded,
Bearded Brewery,
No, it's not.
they-
It says further down, Duncan. Read further down. It says number 7 is being occupied and run by the Bearded Brewery.
it's also saying, because it is, but it's also saying that at the end of 2026, the
lease
lease
runs
is
out.
being returned back, and the
Okay.
whole thing's going to be a bakery.
That seems-
Okay, yeah.
Well, what do we do? I mean, what's the, how do we end this on?
Well,
What's the target for this?
well, I mean, it's come up in planning things, so we need to raise a decision. So at the moment, I'm not happy to, other than object at the moment, that we welcome the development and improvement of the site, and we have that. But we're finding at the moment the plans and the lacking of the east elevation is lacking, and lack of clarity. To come back, really.
Rear access elevation, we're uncertain about the rear access.
Yeah, the rear access to what's going on there, what's being lost, and what's being proposed.
I don't think anything is being lost, because if you look at the first floor proposed and you look at the first floor existing, are they not? Do they not correspond?
So, well,
They do.
but where's the ladder coming in?
Yes, but
What-
what point is that you're not. The plans might not, or we might be finding it difficult to understand the plans but there isn't a change there. They're not getting rid of. They're not maybe or maybe not getting rid of something because they're the same. This entrance number 6A is exactly the same there as it is there. Existing and proposed aren't changing.
But what's this going on here? What's?
Well, it's like an entry into number 6A.
But that's not what corresponds to above, though, Duncan. That's the entrance to number 6. This is the entrance to 6A. Is up the staircase, which they just have this gap here. That door is being kept. It's opening the other way in the proposed, but in the proposed that they've got. So this is currently how it is, isn't it? So we're losing the 2 doors, and there's going to be new double door access in the middle here. All this wall's coming out. But it's, go back to that's current, isn't it? Yeah, can you go back to the proposed one? So they've so this little door is still here. What is this? Oh, and what's that? What's that little island there? Is that some sort of pillar structure? But we don't know.
That's not really a planning matter.
Can we also say that we are concerned about staff facilities?
Yeah.
As in the toilet and stuff?
And, you know, storeroom or anything.
Well, they haven't
Yeah.
said anything, have they? It's just a
No,
big space.
it's just a big space. But if it's not connected to the apartment upstairs anymore, then, yeah, I presume before, then you could nip upstairs to the loo, I presume. But there's nothing.
But there's no change, is there? There's no staircase on the ground floor that leads upstairs, and there isn't now.
No, I presume they'd have to go out and up.
Yeah.
But the flat 6A and 6 were connected before under the same ownership.
Still are. I don't
No.
understand what.
Well, but they're not. They're going to be resuming. They're going to be separate premises.
No. It says intended to be a bakery. The flat above number 6 and 6A will be totally renovated and used as a flat and accommodation associated with the bakery. So I think that the bakery is going to live upstairs. Whoever's running the place is going to live upstairs and run their business downstairs. I think that's what it's saying.
Yeah, I think so. But they will be employing counter service, won't they? So.
Yeah, no.
So also we're losing another door on the back. Go back to, so at the moment at the back we've just got the little door there, and
Entrance into the 2 units.
yes, we've got 2 separate entrances into the unit, so this one's going to be lost.
Yeah, but presumably you won't need one entrance into one business. I don't understand what the point is that you're making in terms of kind of planning terms. If you have 2 doors to 2 separate businesses, and now you've got one business and one door, I don't understand what.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, but I think it highlights that they are changing the back, and we don't see any elevations for the elevation as to really that clarity as to what's going on.
Just need a bit of guidance.
I mean, the planning officer might come back and go and get clarification of it, and it comes back as a 5-day protocol, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But at the moment,
Currently have, we can't
I'm not happy.
guess to it, which is a real shame,
Yeah,
to be honest.
yeah. So I'm proposing objection to this. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it with
Yeah.
regret.
Yeah.
But it's just the way it is.
Vote.
Do you want me to include a comment about the external appearance,
Yes, yeah,
improvement of the building?
yes. So, I mean, the improvement of that is,
Positive stuff
yeah,
about how we're encouraged by it.
yeah, and for the upgrade of the building and everything, and and appreciate that the deterioration of the building is
Saying
going
that
to...
we can't support it because we're not certain
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, at the back, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's where we're up to.
yeah.
It's a shame. But if we can resolve it in the 5-day problem.
Oh, yeah, and then that's fine, if new information comes in. Yeah. So vote on that, on the objection? Yeah. Yeah. You're going to, yeah, and Joanna's abstaining. Okay. I mean, it's a tough one, and I do get frustration with really lacking architects. With a lot of these things. No. No. Yeah. Right, application 7, PA 25/05244, 22 St Anne's Road. This is proposing a detached 2-bedroom annex dwelling subservient to the main dwelling. This is going to be at the bottom of the garden, and we brought this in because we really felt that it's quite large and will be setting a precedent for St Anne's Road.
Now, a comment, I'm hoping that I did include it.
And
but I
on,
think
if
there's
we
a
look at our
neighbour that's
sheets,
commented.
there's a neighbour that's commented as well on page 4. Oh, so that's interesting as well, isn't it? If we look at he comments on the use, even though he's not sure what it's used for. And they want to put a new driveway in, as well as the driveway they've already got, with drop curve. Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, that's right ahead view. So yeah.
So, but can we just zoom in on that? So when we said it's precedent, so and zoom out again a bit. So they're all gardens. So what they're proposing is going to fill up the width of their bottom of their garden. So that's where I'm concerned with it setting a precedent, because there's none there. No.
So this is the
Oh, there it was. We got quick. There it came. There it went.
This is the property in question. As you can see, it has a drive here. It's a semi-detached property, and they are looking, as you'll see from the plans,
to go through the wall.
In a minute. They're looking to take down a section of that wall, put in another drop curb, and make a parking
More
space
parking.
for an off-road parking space for another vehicle. But that's the location. We've got 2 location plans that we can nicely compare here. So you've got, that's your existing, and that's your proposed with the annex dwelling at the rear.
So hang on, can we just hold on that one a minute? So basically, at the moment, this is a garage. So the concern I have is then in the future they'll knock the garage down. That gives them clear access then to the rear property, which will then be existing. We do not know that. We do not know that. But I think it needs annex added, because then it could be sold as a separate property or then developed as a separate property. So it needs an annex. Yes.
Well, it would need an annex. It would need an annex condition, yeah. Of course.
The next door neighbour is concerned that it's an HMO. But I think even if it was an HMO for 5, it doesn't come under the HMO.
No.
It doesn't come under the legislation, does it? It has to be 6.
No, I think an 6 plus is a large HMO.
Right. Which doesn't have
Less
to be
than
licensed.
6 is a C4 HMO. But it could. I'm not. When they've said HMO, I'm not quite certain.
He doesn't want it to become an HMO.
No, I know, but I don't. I'm not. when I read it, I wasn't quite certain if he
He seems to be
understood
saying
what
that,
an HMO was.
well, he seems to think they're three separate households all sharing accommodation, sharing facilities.
This is the change to the front of the property. So they're putting in they would want to put in a dropped curb, and in addition to the 3 parking spaces and what appears to be a garage that they've got, they would have an additional off-road parking. One of the I was surprised to learn that it's not actually illegal to park in front of a drop curb. It's not illegal to park on the pavement in this country.
No, well, that's changing though, isn't it? That's isn't it
Like,
through
yeah.
Parliament at the moment.
Yeah. Things that we assume you can't
It
do,
is in
you
London,
actually can.
but
There is no kitchen.
but you've got plumbing down there, though, haven't you?
Yeah. There is a, as I said, there's a guidance note that says that a lot of these questions that we've got ought to be answered,
Yeah.
and they aren't. So I mean, there's a route into however you want to respond to this. Officer's guidance note says annex proposals that include more than one bedroom will normally be refused unless there is a specific and compelling reason for a second bedroom. But without a supporting statement, there's no reason.
Saying this all now, I think the neighbour is probably right that we're looking at a business that is sharing. I've got no problem with the business doing it, but it's not quite the same as an annex, is it? It's an annex to the business.
If it was attached to the property, I don't think we'd have a problem with it. But having this large structure at the bottom of the garden,
And no cooking facilities, that's the problem.
well,
Do we have the floor plan of the master?
No, we don't, because it's not changing.
Well, I'm going to propose objection on the basis of this doesn't meet the advice and we need more information.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to second that.
Sorry, you just asked.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Where's the kitchen?
Kitchen is at the back here, conveniently located for the back garden. So that's the front of the property here,
Yeah.
and that's the back, that's the rear.
I still think we need more information, so I won't withdraw my objection.
Well, I'm not happy about the new drive either, and lots of.
No.
No, there's no explanation as to why that space is
I
needed.
just wonder, we shouldn't necessarily give play too many of our cards because it's not good in the way, it's not acceptable in its format.
Yeah.
That is it. If they want to come back with something else, we'll consider it then, right?
Yep.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
we're going to get drawn into the weeds. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think we should.
Yeah, I agree.
So the notes I'd written down, I said we had concerns over the use, the absence of a supporting statement, the just referring to the chief officer's guidance note.
Yeah.
There are aspects of this that would seem to contradict it,
Yeah.
and there's no explanation as to why they
Yeah.
need
Another parking place.
Yeah.
parking space.
Or water.
Was there anything that you wanted to add to that or not to include in
No,
that?
just I think I'm happy to leave it at
Yeah,
that
I
and
think-
see
I
what they
think
come back with.
We'll bite on the parking space. We'll talk about how the annex is there. Which is sorry, we'll mention the parking space and we'll mention the annex having 2 bedrooms with no explanation, and I think that will do.
And no
Concerns
kitchen
over the use? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
will include
Yes.
that, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and leave it
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
I propose.
Yeah. So you propose. Second it. All in. Yeah. Favour on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite unusual.
Yeah.
Feels a bit big.
Application. Well, I'm keeping an eye on time because actually it's taking longer than I thought it would. And no 8. No, we haven't done 8. We did 9. Oh no, number 8. We have done 8. Oh yes, it was on the up. Yay! Crowd goes wild, and we've done 9. Yay! Oh, the delirium. The delirium. Oh, I obviously need to eat another chocolate digestive. Oh, sorry.
What else do I agree with?
Yeah. All right. Number 11. Terms of reference and risk assessment update.
No. Nothing to update.
No. Right. 12 reports and associated recommendations from working parties.
The only thing was this parking.
Oh, the parking.
We'll deal with that at the end.
Oh, will you?
Information on.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Financial statements. So, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got sort of 2 elements to this. The first one being that no purchases have been made and there were no payments to authorise. Good. So the second part relates to our last meeting, which was the Planning and Licensing Committee budget. So, as previously reported, we currently have £15,957 in the neighbourhood plan EMR. For this reason, you will recall that our RFO is recommending that going forward we increase the P&L budget for the EMR in order to accumulate the necessary funds to eventually finance the new neighbourhood plan. Whilst the proposed budget of £5,000 for the civic year 26-27 to be transferred to the dedicated earmark reserve fund was recommended to GNR at our last meeting, I followed your instruction and sought further clarification from the RFO as to why the 2026-27 sum had been up to £5,000. It has always previously been £2,500. I'm told that the CEO, Andy Curtis, is best positioned to provide further clarification, but he wasn't available for me right now. I think he's away. However, you have an email from the RFO which is hopefully of some help.
Yes, I have to talk about that.
So that's on your paperwork, that's the last page.
Joanna, you've been...
I have some real concerns with this. We spoke with some planning consultants and they advised that the updated neighbourhood plan is expected to cost anywhere between £35,000 and £65,000, depending on their complexity. Given there have been requests from councillors to include the Colin area, legally we cannot do that. This is ridiculous. I don't know who's requested to include the Colin area, but we can only produce a neighbourhood plan for our parish. We cannot include it for the Colin area. And a conservation area, that's got nothing to do with the neighbourhood plan. And cliff top stability surveys, again, nothing to do with the neighbourhood plan. So none of those three are actually, I mean, they haven't consulted with us to say what we need to do. I mean, the cliff top stability surveys come with the, come when people do applications. We're not going to do one. We've already justified our coastal change management area. I wasn't thinking of doing it again. So I'm not sure where all of this extra work is supposed to be coming from.
So basically, I think we need clarification from the clerk, from Andy, basically, when he comes back.
Who's asked to include the Colin area?
Well, certainly,
yeah. I don't think Colin have. I mean, it depends what you mean.
So I think we need, you know, thank you, Anne, but we need proper clarification from Andy as she identifies at the top.
Now, it is
the
possible
expert.
that there is a conservation area project, and that might be funded, but that is not part of the. Well, it could be, I guess. Are they saying that they want to fund, as part of a P&L budget, a conservation area? Now that's an argument because I know we're working on that.
But that sits separately from the neighbourhood plan.
That's totally separate from the neighbourhood plan. So you couldn't
actually, we've got an EMR for the neighbourhood plan.
And I mean,
you couldn't use that money for anything else.
It's supposed to be worked on with Cornwall Council. So as far as we know, there's no cost coming to the town council. It may do. But we certainly haven't, and the cliff top stability service are not part of the neighbourhood plan.
So we need clarification. Yeah. So thank you.
The examples given do not appear to be part of the neighbourhood plan.
I've got a note of that.
Yeah.
What's an EMR?
Earmarked reserve fund.
Right.
Yeah.
So the idea was that we would save up over a period of time and be able to afford the next one.
I think the other comment I would make is she's saying the Cornwall local plan is completed before starting our own. I think that is pessimistic. I think once the Cornwall local plan starts going, we will be starting, because we'll know what the policies are, we'll know what the numbers are, we will be able to start work. We don't have to wait for the local plan to be approved, although I would never get it approved before the local plannings, because otherwise they generalise.
She might have misunderstood a conversation that we'd had previously,
the lack of clarity
which was about the adoption date.
Yeah.
And she may, because we
will start.
At this point, I think when she replies to our request for clarification, all will be included.
Yes.
Yeah, but we need a response from Andy, really. Yeah. No, she was trying to cover this up, and that's fine. Right, okay. Other correspondence? No, awesome. Right, weekly decisions list, I've just flicked through. I don't think there's anything of particular note from there. And then, last thing then, we need to be really quick then, is the community highway scheme.
Well, two things, community highways and off-street parking.
Oh, okay, and off-street parking. Which
So, Communities Highways Improvement Programme. As a town council, we are able to submit one scheme or expression of interest for consideration, and the deadline is the 31st of December. For the previous Community Area Network Highway scheme, Joanna, when was that wrapped up? Because we've not seen it.
It wasn't wrapped up until the final works on Pentar.
No, I mean, when was the last time we were asked to put forward stuff? It's a while ago, isn't it?
That would be for the previous scheme, so the previous network scheme, which was supposed to run until 2020.
Might be 2023.
Is this something that needs to be passed over to the parking working party?
What I wanted to say was, for the previous scheme, we'd emailed out to the council, to the whole council, and got them to come back with stuff, and then kind of worked our way through it, and eventually put a submission in. But there has been talk at E&F of a scheme that they want to do.
It's been hijacked by E&F.
It does feel like it's been slightly hijacked by E&F without the wider council being asked about it. I've had a conversation in the office about it today, and again, I will talk to Andy when he comes back, because I don't think it's right that one committee should just be deciding on a scheme and saying this is how this is what we're going to put forward. It's always been a much wider net that has been cast, and it has come back to this because none of those committees have, in their terms of reference, anything to do with roads, highways, anything
decision
like that
making.
whatsoever. So I think this might need to be nipped in the bud.
The scheme is supposed to be.
They want to put a crossing area on Tregonwell Hill because apparently children. There's one of the children.
I do know about that. There is a crossing area.
They've got an island. They want to improve it.
Accident because as the individual divisional members, we've also been asked for. We've also, and I mean the one I would like to put forward is a crossing over Tower Road to service the spa. And that's what I will probably be putting forward, because there's very limited stuff now that we can do. Now, when we did it before, where we went through and we said all sorts of unlikely things like no right turn out of lane. They actually did that without us having to pay for it. A lot of the stuff that we discussed was the double yellow lines. They don't want us to do residence parking schemes. But effectively, the whole point about the parking working party, if you consider this a parking working party thing, is that everybody over the whole council put their bids in, and then we looked at our priority list, and then we came back to this committee and said, so there's actually no problem with actually putting something on Tregonwell Hill, unless there's something else that is something.
But I think they have what they have. There's more than one proposal there from the rumours that I've heard. So, and I can't remember what. I think there's 3 ideas that they've come up with.
Well, I'm not sure E&F are the right people.
So I think we need to go back and get some decorum on process on this.
Have we got some terms of reference which covers what the parking, what P&L is responsible for.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've got no objection,
No,
their
to make
schemes
it, yeah.
may be wonderful,
Yeah.
but as you say, it's a committee trying to swipe
Yeah.
the responsibility of this committee.
Yeah. It needs to go out for everybody. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, because I mean, I was the original person who received a complaint about this crossing at Tregonwell Hill. They do have an island, and someone appears to be running with it, which I'm sure, you know, my residents will be absolutely delighted with, because they're the ones who use it. But there's only one scheme. It's a very limited amount of money. I'm not sure. Does it say how much we're going to get?
It's not much, is
Each
it?
CAT member, Cornwall councils and town parish councils, may submit one expression of interest. So Drew will be putting in an expression of interest. And I suspect might be trying to get another one in by using the town council. So that's fine.
But I think for the present, because I am really conscious of the time, is that it's the process. So I think can you please do we need to vote on that then, Duncan? No. Can you go back?
I'll just go back to Andy and see. I'll go back to Andy and seek clarification
What
and
we
report back to you
would
at the next
expect
meeting.
is for the parking working party, which is cross council, is to receive everybody's ideas and then prioritise and then go back to this committee and say this is what we recommend. And if it includes something that ENF wants to do, fine, I've got no problem.
Welcome to join the working party.
Indeed,
and
indeed.
To discuss this.
Yeah.
I'll report back at the
But
next
if we can
meeting,
just
all
check
right?
our terms of reference, but I think
No,
it's down to us.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I don't think even at Squeeze, I don't think there's another committee that could take on something like that. Off-street parking places amendment
I
order.
haven't got that down here again. Okay, yeah, go on.
Use the browser. Use the browser.
I don't understand what you mean by using the browser, Duncan.
Google.
And we'll do it later on.
Yeah. Okay. Right. It means going to the website. Yeah. So the off-street parking places amendment order. So it's 2024 off-street parking places amendment order came in too late as a decision item for this council. It's only gone live today. The response date is quite short. It's the 3rd of December, so we'll have to deal with this.
It's a minor update, but we don't know what it is.
So we do know what it is. It's the introduction of Towan Headland to the parking order.
Is that what it is? Because I couldn't...
I don't know. I didn't send...
So can you...
So there's an email that has gone out today that has...
It's today's email.
Yeah. The one that I had wouldn't have had a link because it wasn't live. I was just trying to bring it to people's attention.
And I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Saying that it's now there.
But there should be and some more information. So what I wanted to say is this something that the Parking Working Party are able to report back, look at and report back for the next meeting?
Two things that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
I can very briefly, I think, because now it's out. What has happened, of course, is the Towan Headland has been no problem. It's coming back into Cornwall Council. So that is why it's going into the parking order. The problem is that in order to get, they're sort of saying, oh, we can't charge for Towan Headland until we get it. But actually, Towan Headland was always non-chargeable in the winter. It was one of the non-chargeable car parks. It isn't a problem, I think, with people with antisocial behaviour in the winter. It's I don't know. So effectively, we would have expected that to come back as free, because what happened was when it got outsourced, they immediately put on a parking charge in the winter, much to the anger of some residents.
And everybody put their towels on there.
Yeah, so effectively it's coming back into Cornwall Council, which is good. They are going to have to devise some way of stopping the real problems that we've had on Towan Headland. I don't want to start, I got ticked off for abusing van lifers yesterday, but I mean effectively it is the people who are trying to live in that car park They are covering up their registration numbers so the cameras doesn't work. They have been abusive to people who try and park there. They have been abusive to our people trying to clean the toilets. So there is a major, major problem there, and they need to sort it out. And it's not going to be easy, but it will involve our enforcement officers. But
So-
it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't matter if they can't charge over the water.
So, what I'm saying is this something that the parking workers
Yes.
party are able to look at and report back to the next meeting on the 26th of November?
Yeah, we may do it by email, but yes, I
Yeah,
think it is
The
something that
deadline
it
is
gets
the
referred
3rd.
to it.
So
Yeah.
I'll include that on the agenda,
agenda,
because then
yeah, yeah.
obviously this committee has got the
Yeah.
delegated response or
Ah, so
authority
you sent
to
something out
respond.
yesterday,
Yes,
and it just said the Let's Talk Cornwall page, so which is interesting, because it wasn't, I'm just trying to see what the link is. Our website uses cookies. Oh,
Can we just,
There's-
can we
there's an
just read
email
this
that-
because we can
there's
find it in a
an email that
minute?
went out to everybody today that has got the detail on it, so you'll be able to look at that after the meeting. But
Yeah.
I will include that on the agenda for the next meeting as a
Yes,
decision item.
yes, thank you.
For us to decide our response. Yeah.
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 Brilliant, okay. And so next meeting then, Wednesday the 26th of November. And thank you everybody, and we can close the meeting. Thank you.